9 o'clock.
On the dot, baby.
How we roll, brother, here and now. So, first off, good morning. Happy Monday, October 28th. 1 month and a day after Hurricane Helene hit. So we've been a month into this already. How many people feel really comfortable and confident about what's going on with the real estate market as a result of a month after the hurricane? I better not see any hands go up because it is confusing as all get out. And I wanted to start off by giving my brother some kudos because, Jeff, you have mastered the art of informing and becoming a community leader, right? The events you've done on Facebook have garnered lots of things. You've learned a lot. You've met a lot of really cool people. If you don't mind, give us a quick recap because I did not see the Fort Myers event, but you told me about it. Jeff is a rock star.
No, well, no, this is not not the intent. The intent was figure out what the hell's going on because I've been here for a long time. People ask me questions and I got to find the answers, right? Somebody's got to hide them, and most people don't. So the issue, what really happened, and nobody really gets this. I was just on the line with John Lum for a while. When people, this is very important. Okay, like when we had Adalia and all those other little ones and little hurricanes come over, they fled you out. You just fix your place back up, you get pissed off, and you go back about your life, and you spend the stupid money you don't want to spend, and life's good. And the city pretty much just lets it happen, right? You should do certain things, but whatever, they just want you back to life. That's normal, right? When you have a tropical storm or something like that. When Helene hit, right, and this is Ian hit, Helene hit, Milton hit, they were declared federal disaster, right? This federal being the key word. Right. And if you look up, and I started looking, I'm like, how the hell did what happened? How did it happen? And I started doing some more research and talking with some pretty high ups in the government. And I said, look, here's the deal. It's in essence, it's martial law, right? So your local ordinances don't matter. The federal government has come in and taken control, and you're going to do it this way. And there's not an option. You're going to do it this way, or you're going to pay dearly. Right. And I'll get into that in just a second. Right. So I was like, all right. So, you hear that, and then you start to see things. And I've got a very good relationship with the city here and all the building officials and planning and zoning and the mayor and the commissioners and local, very detailed, very in with the Republican Party of Florida and all the higher ups in that whole world, and been fortunate to know a lot of really good people. And the reality of it is it's bad. Right. So FEMA, let's go to the realistic, because this Jennifer Birdsong, who you guys know, she's on. Hi Jennifer, good morning. She introduced me to the mayor of Fort Myers Beach, right? And 2 years ago Ian hit, and she got me connected on a phone call with him, and we did a Zoom, which I broadcast to my Facebook page, and we've got over 600 views on that thing already, which is interesting. But it was an interview about what's our crystal ball 2 years from now, what does it look like, and how bad is the FEMA situation. And it's bad, right? But let's understand what it is, because we have to be educated on how we talk about this. So FEMA says, hey,
let me interrupt for just a second, because I got a phone call this morning from an agent saying, hey, I got some friends of mine that live on Bal Harbor, which is flooded, and they're Johnny on the spot. They've rushed out. They've gotten drywall. They've cut all the drywall. They put the drywall back up. And I'm going, wait, Susie, you need to indict them to this call. Number one, you need to be on this call. Number two, I don't have all the answers though, but Jeff's got a lot of them. So that's why I want everybody to pay particular attention now. Remember, Pinellas County, Hillsborough County, Manatee County, Sarasota County, the Keys, all those, Monroe, everybody got their own rules too. But the state of Florida was designated a disaster area, a federal disaster area.
So, yeah, so when an impact from those storms is federal disaster. So when it's a federal disaster, FEMA, let's go back up. FEMA says, hey guys, we're here. I hope you never need us, but if you ever get a natural major disaster, we're here to help. Right. And we will help you clean up. We will reimburse your cleanup, your debris cleanup. When it hits, we'll bring in supplies and food and cleanup and emergency supplies. And we hope we never see you, but if you ever need us, we're here. If you want us, it's an optional program. You don't need us, no big deal. And everyone says, oh yeah, we'd love to have you on standby. And like, okay, well, here's the contract. And if you do these things, then we'll be here for you. If you don't do these things, don't call us because we're not coming. So the cities are like, well, okay, because everything sounds good at the time when there's no problems. And they said, oh, and also here's another thing. We'll let you in the federal national flood insurance program, which means everybody in your municipality or your county can actually get financing because they can get insurance. and that's all good. Plus, if you do these extra things, we'll give you higher ratings, and the higher rating you have, the lower the insurance for all of your residents. Isn't that a great deal? And the city is like, right? Yeah, yeah, more and more and more. This sounds fantastic. And they're like, okay, we'll sign here. Thank you. Right. And years go by. And we've been fortunate not to have a hit. And then now we get hits. And then FEMA comes in and says, we're here. And they're like, oh, thank goodness. Help us. Like, no, 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 not so fast. Sit your ass in the corner. Shut up. We're taking over. And they're like, well, we're still here. We're the local experts. I don't give a shit. Sit down. We're in control. Do it our way, or I'm going to kick your ass. And here's what I mean by kick your ass. I'm going to strip away your access to the federal national flood insurance program. And by the way, when I do that, everybody in your city or your county that has a mortgage will be called and immediately due because they don't have any more insurance backing. And you're never going to get disaster assistance again. If you let anybody put drywall in their house before they're supposed to, you're out of the system. You let anybody rebuild before they get a permit, you're out of the system. You do anything that's not according to these rules, you're out of the system, right? Shut up, sit down, and pay attention, right? And that's what happened, right? It's like a martial law scenario. They're in, it's martial law without the camouflage is what it is, right? So they're in, and the cities, I'm very good friends with our mayor and the commissioners are here. And they're like, we have no control, right? We can do this so much better. We're not allowed to. We have to do it this way. We've got people, and everywhere, it's not we, like we collectively have people that are just sitting in their homes with their drywall cut out, exposed beams, and they're going to be sitting like that for weeks, if not months. And they're tempted to say, screw it. I'm just going to go to Home Depot like everybody is because Home Depot is out of drywall, and they're putting up the drywall and they're painting it and they're taping it and they're putting their baseboards back and they ordered new furniture and they went to IKEA and they're building their cabinets, new kitchens are in, everything's fine. And they're like, sure, that wasn't so bad. So I talked to John Lum this morning and I said, here's what's going on over here and what's going on over there. Because you have a municipality, city of Tampa, you have Temple Terrace, right? And then you have everything else is unincorporated. The deal is not, right, city related. It's not county related. This is federal government, FEMA. The FEMA rule is in place, which means that if your property, this is very important, guys. We have to be very, 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 very educated on this one. If you rely on your appraised value, you're in really big trouble, right? Because I was talking examples with John this morning. I said, you call ServPro. ServPro comes out and gives you a $25,000 bill for remediation and fans and mold spray and all the other stuff. Like, don't worry about it. I'm billing your insurance company. You're like, I don't care then. Do whatever you got to do. Help me save my family. No more mold, right? And they go, okay, you got it. Oh, here's your bill. I'm billing the insurance company. It's 25 grand, 30 grand. A lot of these bills are coming in at. And you're like, I don't care. Well, you will in a minute because you have a $700,000 home, right? That you bought. But the reality of it is 550,000 of that is dirt value, and the other 150 is your structure, right? So now divide 150 by 2 because that's 50%, and you have $75,000 in which you could rebuild your home to the condition it was prior to the event, right? The day before the event, that's what does it take to bring there? And you're like, well, no problem, because I just called all my buddies over. They're contractors up in Alabama. They came down with 6 of them. We sawzalled off all the drywall. We cleaned it all up ourselves. We're all good. We just put it back up and we're good. So you think, right? Federal government marches along, right? And says, knock, knock, knock. I'm here to inspect your home. I've got aerial footage of the 3 foot of water that came through the neighborhood. I need to see the status of your home right now. What? Yeah, I need to see right now. So they come in. You're not keeping them out. Then they're going to say, well, where's your damage? Well, they didn't have any. Here's a picture of your home, sir. This is your water line. I have footage of every home. They droned, they photographed, they have aerials of everything that happened because they have
badass.
right.
They you can zoom right in. I'll open it up while you're talking.
So now you're in a situation where you're like, uh-oh. And they're like, well, don't worry, I did it right. Well, did you? Take it out. I need to prove you did it right. Did you use stainless steel screws? Where'd you get the drywall? Where's your receipts? Oh, you did it yourself? Doesn't matter. We're talking about it's $18.50 an hour for labor of what it really would have costed. I don't care if you did it yourself. We're still imputing $18.50 and labor hour. And we estimated that was probably 40 hours worth of work. There you go. Oh, your ServPro bill of 30 grand, that's now going on it. Remember, I had 75,000 to work with. 30 is now with ServPro, right? 8 grand is now with my labor that my friends help me with for free. Now I got to do my floors, my drywall, my baseboards, my kitchen cabinets, my granite tops, and God forbid it hit your windows. Now you need all new windows. You're over the 50% rule. You're over it, which means by definition of the federal government, you may not move back into that home. You may not rebuild that home the way that it is. You must comply with FEMA rules, and it must be elevated above base flood elevation, period. Right? And you're like, but I already put my drywall back. We're living in here. Get out. Right? Get out. Not your home, not your decision. You're over the rule. Get out. And the city is like, I can't help you guys. Sorry, it's federal. It's in total authoritarian move, right? This is not good. Lauren just wrote in Big Brother. It's bad, right? It's bad. Now, FEMA's very important. It's an important thing. They really help a lot of people. I'm not the anti-FEMA guy. I think the rule is way overreaching. I think it needs reform. And I think we have way too much governmental control. And I'm going to do some things to help that. But for now, we're stuck with what we have. But you have to be able to educate your people and talk about this one, because there's a lot of people I talked with in South Tampa this weekend that are just doing what they're doing, right? And they are hoping they got away with it. I'm telling you, it's impossible. I talked to the mayor of Fort Myers Beach. It's impossible to get away with it. They 100% have to go to every single house, physically inspect every single house that was damaged. And they know which houses were damaged, and you cannot get away from it. So that's the challenge that we're into. And then now think about the tens of thousands of homes that were impacted. How are they going to bring up enough people to get through those inspectors? And that's what we were talking about, Dan Allers, the mayor of North Fort Myers Beach. How are they going to do that? How are they going to get there in a reasonable amount of time? So they're hoping to send people in to help from FEMA.
Yeah.
Including pulling electric meters. Yeah, Jennifer, good point. What's happening here in South Tampa and other places too, they're walking around and they're like, I don't like the way your house looks. Zzz, 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 zzz. Electric meter comes with me, you're out. Taking
Wow.
the electric meter out of the houses. And the city's like, this isn't cool, stop. And they're like, sit down, not your city right now.
Right.
What are you
So here's
showing us?
this is the map link you sent me. It goes all over the flood
Yep,
area, Hillsborough, Pinellas counties. And like this
yep,
neighborhood, it's real easy to tell. If the pool is black, it flooded, right? Every house flooded here, and there's no denying it. This house was built more recently. The pool didn't flood. These cul-de-sac houses were rebuilt. They didn't flood. But every other house in the neighborhood has black pools. They're just all flooded. And this is Apollo Beach, right? This one was a newer one. It's higher. So not being the anti-FEMA guy either, the problem is, I hate to sound like a dick, if we let people keep rebuilding these old houses that are low, they're going to keep flooding, and they're going to keep making insurance claims on a system, the National Flood Insurance Program, that's already broke. So that's why FEMA is being a dick about it, because they don't want to rebuild the houses that are more prone to flood, which just sucks. Because if you go into it, I've talked to 4 or 5 people this weekend and agents too, that are saying, what advice do I give my customer? And we go back to when you and I first started this conversation, is pause and wait. I did find, by searching on the website for Hillsborough County Property Appraiser, he's got a substantial property damage guide. And it goes into how to figure out the values and all this stuff. It's not very clear, but it gives you some idea. And so people really need to read that, because I know a lot of people that are just doing exactly what you said. They're just doing the work themselves. And when you told me that the other day, that FEMA's coming knocking, that's a scary thing. Because if I spent 30 grand fixing my house and then they make me take it out, or they take my electric meter and I'm out of my house, and then the far-reaching effects of this is I've got to still make my mortgage payment. But what relief
yep.
we offer a customer now? Call your mortgage company, tell them you're damaged. They will most likely give you a what do you call it when you
Forbearance.
a forbearance on your loan, and take your payments, add them to the end, to give you a couple months of relief. But in the meantime, you need to find a place to live. So now you got to make your mortgage payment, and you got to pay rent someplace. Or a lot of people are sleeping on their friends or their family's couches because they can't afford to go anywhere else. And to your point, everybody's trying to make it happen fast and make it present. My insurance man, I talked to him the other day. He's my insurance man. And I said, John, what are you doing? I'm living in my RV. I said, yeah, I found a whole bunch of, and no pun intended for this, a whole bunch of Mexicans, and they're hanging drywall right now. I said, John, are you aware of the 50% rule? He goes, not really. I said, well, why don't you talk to your insurance man about it? Oh, you are your insurance man. You better figure it out because the insurance guys don't know what the rules are. So the people you're talking to are real, and our agents are getting these questions. I mean, this morning, an agent called me this morning saying, "Hey, my customers are doing this, and now they're freaking out. What do I tell them?" And I don't have the answer. How do you determine the 50% value? Do you know?
Yes, this is the most important takeaway you're going to get. Okay. Do not rely on the government's value or you will be screwed. Period. Right. I can't underscore that enough, guys. You need to hire an appraiser right now and get an actual cash value FEMA appraisal. They know how to do it. I posted on my page the a couple people that do it, and you need it because when they do come for the inspection, they're going to say, "Sorry about your luck, Mr. Beggins. It shows me that your home value is 172,000." You're like, screw that. I paid 800 for it. Like, I don't care. You have expensive dirt. You got 180 grand of your home. Divide that by 2. You have 90 grand to spend. Your Serve Pro was 25. Oh, sorry about your luck. Uh-oh. Kitchen, bathrooms. Your windows got hit. All new windows. You're over the rule. You are considered substantially damaged property. Boom. Here you go. Zip, zip, zip. Give me your meter. Bye-bye. And then good luck. Or you meet them and say, hey, here's my certified appraisal in hand, which shows my structure value is actually 400 grand because they're good appraisals and they realize that you put in nice cabinets and nice quartz and mowing fixtures and faucets and subs and all the type of stuff that you did in your home. So the actual cash value is here. You can use that certified appraisal and get half of that number, which should you want to preserve your home, that is the only shot you're going to have to maybe be able to preserve your home. Period. If you rely on the government number, it's an old number and it's the only one they have to work with. That's the one they want to work with, and they will do everything they can to work with that number. And then here's your option. Or you're going to get their letter that says, sorry about your luck, you're screwed. You have a right to appeal. And then now you have to go hire an electrician, a plumber, a contractor, an appraisal. Right now, you got to go fight the battle of an appeal. And now you're on the bottom of the pile again when you have thousands of people on top of the pile that need their first inspections and you're trying to get your reinspection. See you in June, right? It's going to be a disaster. So do not wait. Right now, go get an actual cash value appraisal of your home. If you're sitting there with drywall cut out and they haven't been to your home yet, that's what you need to go do. If you've already secretly done it, right, is what it is, I would go get the
Hopefully,
certified appraisal.
okay, here's an example. This is a house we just sold a couple months ago for $600,000. Its market value is 453,000. The land is about 300,000 of that. So that's a 150 house structure, right?
Yep.
And so take half. Well, actually, when you go, and I included this in the attachment in the last email I sent this morning. This is for Hillsborough County, so be careful. Every county's got their own rules. Substantial damage improvement guidelines. And in this county anyway, building market value from the Hillsborough County Property Appraisers website must use the depreciated value of the building or provide a current certified appraisal. So Jeff is telling us right now, if your customers are damaged, go get an appraisal because they have to figure out what this is. Then you add 20% to the building market value or leave it blank if you get a certified appraisal. So they're admitting they're at least 20% low on the website, and they know the certified appraisal is going to come in with a different number, right? And the appraisal probably jumped the price to probably $700 now, maybe more, because they're in high demand.
But yeah, you're gonna spend $850 to $1,000, but it's the best money you've ever spent if you want your house to be rebuilt.
And then it goes to add the building market value and the 20%, if applicable, to the total building value. Propose the project cost, and there's a whole worksheet. You got to fill out all this. It's labor, it's profit. If you're doing it yourself, you have to add your own labor in at a reasonable wage. So if you're doing it yourself, you can't take away labor. You got to add labor into the cost of the project. It's not just, oh, I hung my own drywall. You got to pay yourself to do it. List cost of any past improvements. This one's scary because I put a new roof on last year for 100 grand. That's going to add in my re-improvement cost. And Hillsborough County.
Yes, you have a.
Go ahead.
That's a look back period. It's called a look back period.
Right. So
And
I put a new roof on, I put new
one.
windows in. Those two things are about 200 grand. And that comes off of my rebuild costs because I've done it in the last 12 months. So people aren't looking at that. So they really need to do some research and see what's happening. And the county websites are a good place to start, but I think you're spot on. They need to get an appraiser to find out what their building value is. Right?
Can you get a certified appraiser if you've already done the demo? Yes. And get one, because they will come knocking, and you want to have that ammunition, or else you could be in a position where you're getting got to fight an appeal, and it's going to take you a long time.
Yeah, Susie, 10 years sounded long to me this morning. I just read off that document. It was 12 months. So I don't know where 10
Yep.
years from, but different counties have different rules. There's 3 years, 5 years, 1 year.
Different cities have different rules, right? We've got 1 year here. St. Pete Beach is a 5 year, right? So Treasure Island has a 0 year, right? So every different municipality has a different one, and your commissioners can change that, right? So a lot of people are forced or calling for emergency commission meetings to change that look back period to 0 to give people a fighting chance.
So let's talk about the hard conversation, because agents are saying, my customers are calling, they're asking me this, and it's really hard to deliver bad news. So what is the best thing to tell them? Should they go to the city? Should they go to the county? Should they go to FEMA direct?
Don't even bother, right? So here's the thing: there is no FEMA direct, right? That's one of the problems. Is it's just a bureaucratic mess. And I will turn this political, because there is way too much government control. There is way too much bureaucratic red tape. There's way too much overreach in this one. And it is way too much, way too much, right? There's so many layers of government in here. It's not even funny, right? So it can't, something has to change. And if you don't like all this big government interference, then you got a choice in a week to change that. That's enough. All I'm going to say about that. But it's not good, right? There's way too much government interference in this thing. And this is the US still. They're acting like it's communist freaking China. And we still have rights, and we still have the ability to negotiate. We still have the ability to say no. We still have the ability to stand up and say, this is not right. I understand there's an agreement, but it needs to be redone, right? And that's kind of what I'm working on over on this side here. It's a big problem.
Yeah. So once again, how do we deliver this news? I mean, I'm talking to my insurance man saying, John, you really need to learn more about this. Who does he call?
You need to call your building department, right? Whatever that building department is, and say, what is my process? Do I require a demo permit? Right? And not a demo of your home, a demo just take away drywall. A lot of cities are waiving the requirement for pay for a demo permit, but you still have to get a demo permit. Why? Not because they want to, because FEMA is forcing them to, right? FEMA says, I don't care who's doing what. They need a demo permit to touch 1 square foot of drywall. They need to permit. Why do they want the permit? Because they want to make sure that you did it right. So when you apply for a demo permit, you get in a stack of a line of people to the city or the county, the building department, and FEMA collectively have to march their happy asses to your house to look at what you want to demo and see if they want to allow you to demo it, and say, why are you even bothering? We're going to total your house, right? Boom, here's an X mark, zip, give me your meter. Don't even bother, right? That's what's happening. Right? And you can't touch it. You're not supposed to touch it without a demo permit. And then once you ask for a demo permit, they're not going to give you a demo permit until they show up at your house and see if you're deemed worthy enough to even get a demo permit. And then you need to get a construction permit. Good luck getting a construction permit, because they're on a moratorium right now, and they're not giving any permits out until everything has been inspected by FEMA. So you could be weeks away from getting even a permit, which you need to put new drywall back in your home. And if, God forbid, your electric was underwater, which all of our electric was underwater, and your panel was underwater, and you've got wires and salt water don't mix well. We got fires erupting all over the place. You don't have them. If you don't have them in your neighborhood yet, just wait. You got corroded paper on electrical current that's corroding. It's not good, which is why they really don't want people dying, which is why they're saying you're not allowed to do anything until we inspect your house, because we don't want you dying, and we don't want you to rebuild your house. But we won't make that a big point. But that's what we're happening here.
I've got some neighbors across the canal. They were out of town. Their garage flooded. They had a lithium ion battery on the floor of their garage. 2 days after the
Yep.
storm, the neighbor smelled something funny, went outside and looked and saw flames and said, holy shit. He called the fire department. They got there really quick. And thank God they did, because they also had propane tanks in his garage and gasoline tanks in his garage. Right. And that was just a battery sitting on the ground. His whole garage is melted. I don't know if the house is going to have to even be able to live in yet.
Yeah. So yeah, so our duty to mitigate, you do have a duty to mitigate, Chris, but that's to rip out your drywall and spray on it. That's it. You don't have the right to rebuild. You don't have the right to put anything back. You do have the right to take the drywall out. Now, you still should get a permit, but a lot of cities are saying, if you didn't get a permit, you're okay, but you need to come get it now because we need to give you an inspection. But
And
it's
take,
okay to have ripped your drywall out and take pictures of it all and modify where the water line was in your house. And they know where it is. They were the first people out after a storm are the drones from FEMA to get a good bird's eye view on how badly the property damage was and how many homes they can force to not have another loss, right? All they want is a non-repetitive loss situation. If you got a loss, we don't want you back. And if we're going to do everything we can to not allow you back because we don't want to deal with this ever again, so we're going to fight you and legally, and we're going to put the stringent rules that we can in place to make it very difficult for you to rebuild a house that has got a loss, because we don't really feel like writing another $200 billion check.
Nick says some cities are allowed to demo without permits. Yeah, but you got to get a permit after the fact. They want to know what
And
you
after
did.
the fact, yep. Yeah, this is a big, guys. This is a what's going to happen to all the people that already started, that already did. Well, they're going to have to admit that they did it. They're going to have to admit that they did it one way or the other, because it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And they 100% will catch every single person, every single one of them, no matter what. They know which neighborhood's flooded. They're just understaffed right now. As soon as they get the staff, they're importing people left and right, which can you imagine the caliber of those people? They're going to come down to go decide whether or not you can go back into your house with the message that they don't want you to be able to go back into your house. So the Exactimate software on their iPads has an automatic formula that says, okay, 3 feet of water equals this. Boom, boom, boom. 3 feet of water equals substantially damaged. Boom. That's it. If you got 3 feet of water in your house, they're considering it substantially damaged, and they're going to make you fight like hell to maybe to get it, the house to be put back.
And the way
And
to start the
unfortunately,
fight is to get an appraisal.
that's the way to put the fight in your corner a little bit better, because you have a higher number threshold. If you let them use their number, they're gonna knock you over it, and then you have to do the appeals process, and it's gonna take you a long time.
Well,
So I
that's what I
wish we
want
had
to
better.
accomplish today. I know it's bad because I wish I had better advice to give. But as I talk to you more often, I go, holy shit, this is really, really, really serious. And it's nice to know because we've asked our agents to become, you know, the knowers of all things real estate, and our customers are calling us and asking us, and we don't have the answer. But now you have more interest than you did before. And the fact is,
I
it's
shared into I was just saying, I shared into Beggins Agents that interview with Dan, the mayor of Fort Myers Beach, and on Facebook, our closed Facebook page. So take a look at that if you want to see it. It's on my personal Facebook page as well. But there's a lot of good insight about what we're going into and what we're in. But guys, it's not a joke. This is not city rule. This is federal, and it's too much. It's too much federal overreach.
so what's going on in Madeira Beach now? You got power back in most places?
Power is back. There's still debris everywhere. There's still piles in front of everybody's houses still, and they're working their way through to try to get that together. They're still going door to door, and the city building officials are going door to door and with the FEMA people, making the decisions on whether or not they don't even make the decision. They're like, okay, thank you for your advice. Thank you for letting us see. We're going to put this into the spreadsheet. We'll mail you a letter. Now you got to sit around and wait for a letter for several days. And the letter is going to determine your fate of whether or not you're allowed to renovate your home or not. Right. And then once you get it, now you're in trouble. Now you got to fight the fight unless you met them there and say, nice to see you. Here's my certified appraisal. And they're going, thank you for saving us all the problems. We will use this to help determine where you are in your life. Right. So that's why people are getting a better shake when they have the appraisal. So please get one. Advise all your customers to get one. It's the best $1,000 they're ever going to send.
Well, I know Chris and Jimmy put together a list for the Apollo Beach and South Shore offices, like a resource list. Who's a good fence repairman? Who's a good this? Who's a good that? Who's a good this? That. So there's appraisers on that list because everyone's going to say, now, what appraiser do I call? Right. So if we have any appraisers stuff, let's share that information inside with our customers too. And if somebody got a really good experience, that would be a good one to share.
Jamie says 120 days before we hear anything back from FEMA, likely. Time frame the same with or without an appraisal. Yeah, but you're gonna have a better outcome with an appraisal.
If you want to rebuild your house. I know some people that say, I don't even want to rebuild it. This is just too emotionally crushing to me to go through this. Your street.
Let's end with that. Let's end with that. Please don't let people do emotional moves right now. I mean, all of us think about it, right? Everybody thinks about it like, screw it. I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to do this. Screw it. I'm done. Right. And then somebody knocks by and says, I'll give you $250,000 cash. Here's the other problem. These people that are flipping homes, major problems, right? A lot of people, like to your point, Craig, they rushed in and they slapped up some drywall. They fixed it up. They threw the IKEA kitchens in and they're going to be done this weekend, put it on the market and flip it and sell it, right? Those people, the unsuspecting buyers, are going to buy this property and the FEMA inspector is going to come by later and they're screwed. And then they're probably not going to be able to get insurance because the seller pocketed the money that was supposed to be for the repairs and they sold the house as is, pocketed the check, and they're out of here. And so that
Oh,
poor
God,
person is
that's
going to be
scary.
able, and the new buyer is not going to be able to get insurance. Right? It's going to be an open claim that's sitting there. It's an open FEMA claim that the seller ran out of town with the cash, and they have the right to do that. And the buyers, the scammers, and the flippers are not telling people this. So you're going to see some
What
big
do you call the
problems.
scammers? This scum sucking.
Blood scum sucking vultures.
That's it.
Yeah. So the answer to everybody is do not sell right now. If you're deadly in dire need of money, right? I'll feed you. Don't sell right now. Let's figure it out. Because let's end with this. 3 months after a storm, things stabilize, right? It's super emotional and it is very up and down because of the emotions for 3 months, right? It's 14 months afterwards, you get to the prices where you were prior to the storm. 3 years after a storm, you're double the value, right? That you were pre-storm, because everything that gets rebuilt is nicer, newer, better, different people, friends like friends come in town, and it changes, right? The area changes, but you're not going to stop that, but it's going to go up in value. So everything, if you're able to buy something right now, you should buy it, right? Because it's a great investment. If you don't have to sell right now, don't sell right now. Just suck it up.
Let's talk about that first too, because Jackie just typed in, what do you say if they just want to sell? You got to be careful as a buyer. If you're buying a house and you don't plan on tearing it down, you're subject to all these rules, right? So only buy a house right now that's going to be torn down. So if you can buy a house for lot value and you think you know what lot value is, which you don't, then that's a safe house to buy. But if you're buying a seller's house that is damaged and you're not familiar with all these rules, they're going to apply to you. So these guys run around making 250 offers on a house and they don't plan on knocking it down. They're going to be subject to the rebuilding rules, and it's going to be scary for them. So a lot of people that are not experienced are going to get bit, and that's kind of our job to remind them.
Yep. Yeah, be careful of those little fix and flippers, guys. They're all over the place. And there's all those little Facebook groups for it, off market real estate. Hey, buy this house. It's got a market value of 750. You could buy it now for 550, put 50 grand in it and start renting it out. DM me for information, right? They're all over the place.
I'm just answer these questions real quick. And guys, we have open hour open hour for questions and answers today at 9:45. There's an email that actually sent out earlier this morning with that link number. It's a different link. Jamie says, we don't want to repair. We want to build up and never be flooded again. That's what FEMA wants.
Good.
That's the goal. Right now, there's options. A lot of people are talking about lifting up their houses. Have you found a cost-effective way to do that?
No, and you never will.
No, right? You won't.
You never.
And even if you did, you're going to lift up an old house, and then you've got an old house that's high, right? So it's basically going to be cheaper to knock it down and build a new one, which really sucks if you have a mortgage, because then you got to pay off your mortgage too.
And worse than that, everyone says, I'm just going to get a FEMA grant for 200 grand and apply that to my rebuild. No, you're not, because FEMA doesn't give you that. FEMA gives your municipality or your county the grant, and then now you're going to fight with everybody else in that city or county for the order of importance, right? So who was hurt worst, right? The one with the most repetitive losses gets in there first, second, third, fourth, and the cities hate them, the counties hate them. They're so hard to implement, and they come back and they bite the city in the ass. Madeira Beach alone has done 8 over the years. They will not do another one. because it costs too much money. And they're threatening to kick them out of the flood insurance program right now because of that, right? Because of the people, you're only allowed to build a $400,000 structure, and they put in higher level granite, and they weren't allowed to. That triggers it. So FEMA saying, give me my money back, and the city's responsible. Now the city's going to have to sue the seller, but the seller sold it and the new buyer has it, and it's a disaster. So I promise you, your municipality is going to make it very difficult to get that grant because they don't want to administer them. So don't even think you're going to get it. Just wipe it out of your head, because it's just not going to happen. So your best bet right now is try to get a 203H loan for 500 grand, come up with the rest of the cash somewhere else, and build yourself a nice home.
The 203H is a zero down disaster loan product. I sent out emails on it. Mike Puma's done post on it as well. Regina, my sister, probably had 2 trees fall in her house. FEMA has already given her a check for the roof and hotel stay. Good. They're working on it. They're going, but they're helping people. It's just there's a lot more people that need help. So they must have gotten early. I'm saying don't buy houses with storm damage unless they've been mitigated already. Yeah,
or just know what you're getting into.
That's the answer. You gotta know. Jennifer,
and unfortunately, you're not going to know. You're not going to know what you're getting into, because nobody knows what you're getting into, because nobody's been through this before here.
Yeah.
So that's the challenges that we have right now.
Okay, let's end this. Let's go to open coaching call at 9:45. There's a link in here, and Angelique sent an email. So this conversation will probably continue in there because you guys are having this. Yeah, see, Diane, knockdown and rebuilding is happening right now, but did they do it right? Right? Did they get a demolition permit? Did they get the new house permitted? It's hard to get plans and everything accepted through the building department that fast. It's only been a month.
Well, they're not able to even look at a permit right now. They're physically not allowed to issue any permits at this moment in time.
Is that just Madeira Beach or all over the disaster?
Both. That's a FEMA rule, is until we're done with our inspections, you're not permitting anybody to do anything.
Wow.
Now, are some cities doing it? Yes. Are those people really having problems and could be facing really difficult problems? Oh yeah.
Yeah. If they cut off NFIP, basically any house that needs flood insurance is not marketable because you can't get a loan on it.
Which is actually every house with a mortgage.
Right.
Ask Marco Island. Marco Island got rid of FEMA. Cape Coral's about to be kicked out of FEMA for all these reasons that we're talking about. So all these other cities don't want to be kicked out. So they're going to come down hard because they have no choice.
So where are you right now? You're in the garage of the residences?
I am right now.
Hey, how did the new building fare in the storm?
I'll tell you what, new build is the answer.
That's it.
Everything's built to code. This is what FEMA wants. Everything up above level, water to flow through, come home when we tell you to come home after we're cleaned up, and get on with your life, and nobody's dead. Right. So they're not going to back down until they get what they want, which is everything up 14, 15 feet. And they're going to make it very difficult. So people ask me all the time, what should I do? I said, nobody is going to want a ground level home in a flood zone anymore. It's over. Right? Party's over.
Yep.
Party's over.
Yeah. So remember firm flood insurance rate map date. You got to know that for your area. Hillsborough County, it's 1980. So if it's built before 1980, you were pre-firm, you're below the flood. All those houses flooded. If you were post-firm, you did what FEMA wanted and you didn't flood. So the post-firm houses, at least in Apollo Beach, are fine. The pre-firm houses are not. So when you're talking to a customer, if you know what year their house was, if it was before 1980 in Hillsborough County, then they're in trouble. Okay. We're going to go ahead and end now, but Jeff, thank you for your information and learning as much as you're learning, and share it with our people.
Yes, of course. Yeah, stay tuned. I got a lot more coming. Follow on my Facebook page, because I put stuff out as I learn it, and it's good. So pay attention, and talk to you soon.
Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Bye,
Sales
bye-bye.
meeting tomorrow will continue.
Bye.